Okay, everyone, we'll go ahead and get started. My name's Jonna Justice. I'm one of the career counselors at University Career Services, and I'm excited today to be presenting the networking workshop for international students in the virtual format. So I thank you for joining us today. I know that with everything going on, a lot of things have changed this semester, so I thank you for your flexibility, and I look forward to connecting with each and one of you. So before we jump into the presentation, I am just going to ask that for today, I will be taking questions, but since we're on a virtual chat, I'm going to wait till the end for questions. And what I'll ask you to do is I'll ask you to write the questions in the chat box, and then I'll read the question out loud and respond to it. If you could also please feel free if you want to have your video up. But if you could put mute on your speakers, that would be great, just so we don't hear any background noise. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's first start with the overview of UCS. If you have not connected with our office before, we are the office that supports you in whatever you need in terms of finding an internship job, or even if you're planning on going to grad school. So we do offer one-on-one career counseling appointments. We are still offering them. Right now we're offering phone and virtual appointments. We also have live chats. Typically throughout the semester, we had drop-ins where you could come in. We've stopped them for this semester, but we do have live chats where you can go to our main website. We have a get help button. And instead of the drop-ins, we've replaced drop-ins with the live chats Monday through Thursday. The only time they're not available is Fridays in the morning from 9 to 12. But any other time between 8 to 5, there's someone you could chat with. It won't be a video chat, it would just be a text chat, but you'd be able to get any quick questions answered. But if you need a little bit more time, maybe you're thinking about changing your major, or maybe you just want more time with your career counselor, I would really suggest more of that phone or virtual appointment. So we do offer career and networking events as well. Just like these workshops, we also have employer information sessions where they actually either come to our office or they do a virtual workshop like this and talk more about their positions and their company. We'll talk more later on in the presentation about why this is really beneficial for networking. Career fairs, we did have a career fair that was going to be next week. We're rescheduling it for May 20th, and I'll talk more about the end when we get to the save the date. Our resources at University Career Services. We have a lot of online resources. I mentioned the virtual chats. We also have a resume review called VMOC. So if it's after hours, maybe you're not able to connect with someone, what you can do is you can go to VMOC, you get 10 free uploads a year, and the system automatically not only reviews your format, but it also reviews your content, all in less than a minute. So it's really beneficial if you have a last minute interview that comes up, or you're like, I have something coming up and I need my resume review. You can go to the system, get that instant feedback, make the changes, and then go to your event. We have a careers workbook as well, which I'll talk more at the end of the presentation. Vocational assessments. So if you're at a stage where maybe you're like, I don't know if this is the right major for me, or maybe it does, but maybe I just want to explore a little bit more about my personality, my interest, maybe just what kind of other careers are out there. We do offer vocational assessments. The first 3 on top, they are psychological assessments, so they do cost $15 each. But you can come in, meet with a counselor. We talk to you more about the process. If you are interested in taking them, we'll give you the instructions to take it. You go take it at home, you come back to our office, and we interpret the results with you. Now, if you want to try an assessment for free, we do have Focus 2. It's available on our website, free to take. You get the results automatically, and the assessment takes less than 30 minutes to take. But what's really nice about it is that it will give you information on not only what kind of possible careers you can do, but what majors based on your responses connect to those careers at U of H. We do have a career closet as well at our office. So the career closet is for both individuals who identify as males and females. We have a variety of styles, sizing, and all you have to do is come to our office. It's $10. That's really just to cover the dry cleaning fee. You get to try on the pieces. If something works out for you, You go pay in the front, take it with you, and then all you have to do is return it and we take it to the dry cleaner. So we specifically have the career closet because we got a lot of feedback from students that maybe they weren't able to afford or they didn't have updated professional clothing for an interview or a career fair. And we didn't want this to stop students from going to potential internship and job opportunities. So take advantage of that resource if you do need that professional attire. And the last slide about our resources is Cougar Pathway. You probably are familiar with Cougar Pathway because you may have looked for the information on how to get to the Zoom through Cougar Pathway. So it's definitely where you can see all our upcoming events. More importantly though, is where you can make an appointment with your career counselor and where you can look for jobs and internship opportunities. So we do have a job board. The job board usually has over 1,000 postings, not only in Houston, but outside of Houston and all over the United States. You actually get to apply directly through Cougar Pathway for those positions. In order to apply, you do have to have an approved resume. So we do review everyone's first resumes that's submitted, just to make sure that it is competitive, professional. If for any reason your resume is denied, don't worry, connect with the counselor through virtual chats or through a virtual phone appointment, and we'll help you get that resume reviewed. So we are going to jump into, the actual presentation. I am going to stop sharing my screen for a second to join the chat, but I really would love to know from everyone, what kind of things do you think employers are looking for when they're hiring students, or even just for international students? So I'll give everyone a couple of seconds, but you can use the chat bar. Just say your responses. I'll give everyone a couple seconds to think about it, and then we can share, and I'll share some of those responses out loud. So what kind of things do you think an employer is looking for in an employee? The efficiency and teamwork. Skills to do the job. Leadership qualities. Thank you for those responses. Those are definitely all items that someone who is in a hiring position is looking for. Particularly with international students, something that they may be trying to assess is, has the student gained the experience to know what it looks like to work in an American setting? So has a student been able to adapt to an American work culture? But particularly, especially with teamwork, leadership, and communication, those are areas that even employers have told us that they really want students to work on. And the great thing is that through networking, you can actually build up on those skills. And we'll talk about why in a second. I'm going to share my screen again. So thank you for sharing your responses. So let's talk about networking. So what really is networking? So the definition is, networking is building, developing, and maintaining mutually beneficial relationships. I really want to emphasize mutual and relationships. A lot of people may come with the notion that networking is really more just a one-sided interaction. I'm going up to you because I need something. But again, this is a two-way interaction. It's two people supporting each other and a relationship. So a relationship's not a one-time interaction. With all our relationships, right, it's something that you spend time building upon throughout your professional endeavor. So networking is for everyone. And it also is not always a planned event. Some people may feel that, oh, networking's going to a mix or going to a career fair. Those are definitely networking opportunities. But sometimes you may be in a place, maybe you're going to go pick up something really quick and you're talking to someone, and then you realize that they're in the industry that you want to be in. So don't always think about it as a very structured item. Sometimes it's a very unstructured situation where you just run into someone and they're in the professional network that you want to be in. It is not a collection of business cards or competition. So again, going back to that, I need to collect all these different business cards from different people. and that's going to get me that job opportunity. You can have all those business cards, but if you don't have a relationship with those people, it's not going to be effective. And it's not for making a direct approach. So again, this is a relationship. So when you're connecting with people, really the first thing you should not be saying is, hi, I am so-and-so and I need a job, right? First off, they don't know you, they don't know your skills and qualifications, but now if you've built a relationship with someone over time, they've known you, they've seen your work ethic, you've all collaborated together. If you go to them then and say, hey, I'm actually in the market for looking for internships or jobs, do you have any recommendations? Because they've known you, you've built that relationship, they're more likely to offer you either suggestions, or if they have any opportunities, suggest those suggestions in their organization. So why is networking important? So networking is important first off because it's how you receive and share information. I always like to tell students, sometimes when you have your network of people, you find out about jobs or opportunities that weren't even posted yet. Because if you've built a relationship with someone, I think by human nature, most organizations and departments, the first thing that we do when we have an opening is we look to people that we already know and trust, our networks, and we ask, hey, do you have any recommendations for someone who would be a good hire for here? It's also how you receive information. So again, you may be new to your industry and may not know a lot, but by building relationships with individuals, you can learn more information about like, what are the best strategies to get into this job? When I'm in this job, what are the best strategies maybe to get to that next role that I'm looking for? Connection, source for opportunities, again, reciprocal relationship building, necessary tool for career management. So I think most people know the notion of applying directly through a job board to get a job, and that's definitely one way to do it. But I think an even stronger way is having those connections and relationships with individuals, even when you are currently in a position, because you never know when an opportunity opens up. That person may be in a hiring position or be able to make a hiring decision that could influence who gets that job. And it's an essential part of your job search before and after graduation. So it's great that you're attending this workshop today, whether you are a freshman to a senior, because after today you can start building up on how you plan to network before you graduate or before you start looking for your full-time job. So what are some benefits of networking? Opportunities and professional connections, increase confidence in the professional world. If you have never really connected to a professional, or maybe you've never had a conversation before, this is good practice. Usually when you're building relationships, whether it's in an informal or formal setting, sometimes the conversations can be a little bit more relaxed. But it's also a good way too, when we go to bullet point number 4, to improve your social and communication skills. So sometimes students may say, hey, Donna, I actually maybe don't feel comfortable talking to an employer. That's okay. That's really natural, especially if you haven't talked to a professional before. But these are good times to practice because as many of you mentioned when I asked what kind of skills is an employer looking for, those communication skills are important. What's great too is that if you build a relationship with someone or end up having a mentor with someone, they can really provide you with some great practical advice. They may give you feedback to help you grow as a professional. If you're sending emails and maybe you're not adding a hello, a greeting, or an ending, maybe they let you know that and say, hey, just for future reference, make sure you're adding these to your emails in a professional setting, so they can help you develop in those areas so that when you get to your full-time role, these are going to be things that you already know and you won't have to be learning in your full-time position. I think too, most important, it forces you to step out of your comfort zone. When we go to the next slides, we'll talk more about why this may be out of your comfort zone, but for a lot of people, it may not be natural just to go up to someone and strike up a conversation. But just like the job search process, this will be a little, for most people, job search is outside their comfort zone. So again, this is good practice to get you outside your comfort zone and learn those skills and strategies to connect with people. Boom. So I am going to stop sharing again, but I would love to know everyone networking level. So how comfortable you feel networking. So if you can add in the chat box One would be, I love networking. I get super excited talking to individuals. Two may be, I'm okay with it. Not my favorite thing, but I'm okay doing it. And then three would be, no, I do not like it. It makes me really nervous. Okay. So I got a 1, 2, and 3 in the same order. Good. Yeah, thank you for sharing. So we can see that everyone all has a different comfortability level with networking. And that's okay, because for some people, there are going to be some barriers to networking, even whether you like it or don't like it. One, for instance, is knowing the difference between online and face-to-face networking. Um, Online networking, let's say if you are messaging someone through LinkedIn or following up by email, online tends to the conversations be more professional based. And what I mean by that is it may naturally strike up if you're introducing yourself. Hi, I saw your LinkedIn profile. I saw that you work for this technology company. I'm a college technology student. Would love to talk to you more about the industry. Now, face-to-face networking, whether it's in a conference, workshop, mixer, you definitely will have conversations about your profession, the industry, but what you'll notice will be a little bit different is that you'll also maybe just have conversations about different things, more general things. So a good example is asking someone, are you from Houston? How long have you been in Houston? What hobbies do you have? So those are something nuances that you may see with online versus face-to-face. I think as humans too, we all fear of just being accepted or judged for reaching out to someone. I know when I work with students, they may say like, well, what if that person doesn't answer? My best advice is that if you reach out to someone and they don't answer, that's okay. You never know, maybe that person's busy, maybe the email didn't go through. So don't take it upon that self. But I think you'll actually be more surprised how many professionals and industries want to mentor and want to connect to students who are interested in the field. Again, lack of social or communication skills, so maybe just that nervousness of like, this is not something that I've done before. Failure to keep in touch and build those relationships. So what I was talking about earlier, you can connect with someone on LinkedIn, or you can meet with someone at a conference, and you can meet with them once and it's great, but if you don't keep that connection up, either through maybe checking in every once in a while, maybe inviting them to go grab a coffee, that relationship won't be a relationship. False idea that network is supposed to help you secure a job. So it is important to network, but that is not a guarantee that your connections will get you the job. So don't always feel that like, oh, I'm gonna talk to one person and this one person will get me a job. It may not happen that way, but again, you never know who that person knows or what are the connections that they can have to help you get to that next step. And asking for favors or referrals before a relationship is established. So again, so when you're introducing yourself, you're having conversations, you don't want one of the first things that you're having a conversation about to be, I need a job, I need an internship. You want to build up on that relationship. So when you do have the relationship, it'll be more natural to ask about opportunities for whatever kind of internships or jobs you're looking for. Some other areas of barriers maybe just be your personality type. So if you identify as a introvert, that is someone who gets more energy from being by themselves. They focus more on internal thoughts and feelings, often quiet and reserved in large groups, or may not be as comfortable talking with unfamiliar people. They tend to be more sociable around people they know and they learn through observation. So if you identify as this area, I always like to first start off with introvert does not mean that you don't like people. Sometimes some people may come with that connotation that I'm an introvert, I don't like talking to people. That may not be the case. We can see here that introverts, they tend to, when they know someone, actually really enjoy thriving, or maybe they enjoy more of those one-on-one conversations versus being in a big group. Now, If you identify more as an extrovert, networking may be something that's a little bit more exciting to you because extroverts tend to get more of that energy from being around people and talking. They like to collaborate with others on their thoughts, ideas, feelings. They could be more enthusiastic, going, and friendly. They may feel isolated by spending too much time alone, so they're naturally maybe looking out for people to connect to, and they enjoy group work. So for someone who is a extrovert, maybe a conference, you really enjoy that because that's your opportunity to really recharge, connect, get to meet a lot of different people. Maybe versus someone the extrovert, maybe something like, an introvert. LinkedIn may be a better option if you can have more of that one-on-one connection, or maybe one-on-one meetings more for you. Whatever personality type you identify with, still both personality types can network. It just may look different. So if you're talking to your friends and how their networking looks different from you, that's okay. It's just important that you both are networking and building those relationships in your field. Okay, so some opportunities to network. First, professional and student organizations. You may be thinking, student organizations, how can I network there? So the colleagues that you have in your student organizations, you never know if they're an upperclassman and they graduate before you, they may by the time you graduate be in a hiring manager position. Or even if it's a colleague who's in the same grade level, by the time you all get into your full-time positions and you're looking for a job, you may even never know, maybe your colleague is working in the company that you want for. So the great thing about being at a university is that you automatically have a network of people who you can connect to. I also like to point out your professors in this. A lot of students maybe don't know or don't recognize that a lot of your professors may have or still be working in the industry that you're interested in. So they probably have worked there, have connections. So they have a lot of wealth and knowledge. So that's a really easy place to start. If you're like, well, maybe I'm not too comfortable right now, your faculty, you already know them, you take classes with them, set up a meeting with them. Say, hey, I know that you used to work in the engineering industry. I would love to learn more about it. Can I set up, go to your office hours and maybe set up a separate meeting with you just to learn more about what it looks like. So you build that relationship and you never know, maybe they suggest other people to connect to in the community. On-campus career fairs, presentations, information sessions. So I would say any events, again, where you're with individuals in your profession. So definitely on-campus events are great. Also look into local events. There's a lot of local either career fairs, events, or professional organizations. The professional organizations, they love to have students because they typically sometimes don't get a lot of students in those organizations. From those organizations, you have a pool of people who are working in the industry who you can connect to, build those relationships, and talk to. And some of the events you may attend may be more social events. Again, off campus, on campus or off campus. There'll be more relaxed settings, but again, if you're talking to someone and you find a connection with them, continue to build that relationship. So while I'm networking, what skills and tools would you need to be successful when you're building those relationships? First off, remembering someone's name. I'm really guilty of this. I am really bad with names. So when I go to any conferences or professional organization events, I really am very mindful of paying attention closely when someone introduces their name, because I know naturally if I'm not paying attention, I won't remember. But I may do little tricks too. I may instantly add them on LinkedIn, or if I get their business card, I'll keep it, maybe write a note on the back about how I met that individual. If you attend a event and you are with your friends, colleagues, you won't need to split up, especially if this is your first time or you don't naturally feel comfortable talking to a professional. You got to practice it. So it's not as professional as if you're going up to someone with a buddy or with a colleague. So make sure that you split apart and you're having those individual conversations. Make sure when you connect with someone, you're like, this is a really cool person that I want to follow up with, that You talk to them about how you want to follow up. A simple thing could be if you're in a face-to-face conversation, say, hey, I really enjoyed talking to you. Do you mind if I add you on LinkedIn? Or do I mind if I send you a follow-up email just to check on how you're doing? Good verbal communication is key. I would even stress more though, good nonverbal communication, because you could be saying everything beautifully, and having a great conversation, but if you look distracted, if you're hunched over, if you're looking down, you're gonna look uninterested in the conversation, and the person you're talking to is probably gonna assume that you aren't interested in talking to them. So again, verbal communication is important, but your nonverbals are also essential. Ask relevant questions to the industry, and keep a positive mindset. So during conversations, these are just some items that you could potentially start with. Just to give you some examples, I'm interested in, let's say, the counseling industry because I have completed 5 years being a career counselor. So if I hear that, I may say, oh yeah, tell me more about where you've done your career counseling. And then that conversation naturally ensues. What advice do you have for me for maybe getting into the industry? What skills, qualities does your company look for? And just some casual in-person conversations. Again, how long have you lived in Houston? What brought you to the city? What initially interested you in the field of study? So the next section that we're going to talk about is LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is a really powerful tool, whether you love meeting people in person or love meeting people offline, just because you have a pool of people in professional networks. So if you don't have a LinkedIn, or maybe you have a LinkedIn and haven't updated your profile, just know that you can actually set up a career counseling appointment, to have a career counselor either one, help you go through your LinkedIn to review it, give you feedback on it, or if you haven't started yet, we can actually walk you through it to tell you what LinkedIn is, what the tools are, and then how you can really make your profile effective. But why LinkedIn is powerful is right now there's over 526 million users, 146 million are in the US. So there's over 200 countries that are represented in LinkedIn. Why that's great is because if you are planning maybe not on staying in the US, but applying for jobs in a different country, you can use LinkedIn to reach out to individuals in the countries that you're interested in applying to. Over 40 million students and recent grads. Number of LinkedIn members per second is 2. And 61 million LinkedIn users are senior level influencers, and 40 million are in decision-making positions. So a lot of people on LinkedIn are in a position to say yes or no to a new hire. So 1, great people to be in your network, and 2, great people to learn information about how do I get into this industry. So when you connect on LinkedIn, if you make an appointment with a counselor, they'll talk to you more about sending messages. LinkedIn has a feature where once you're connected with someone, you can send a direct message to them. And then these are some examples here. The one with Alfonso of maybe following up after you've already connected with someone. So here he writes, really appreciate the advice you gave me and wanted to add you as a connection for future help. Thank you. So he had met with Adalia before, just wanted to follow up, stay connected with her. Adalia writes back, I'm glad I helped. I hope you'll connect with Ship and Bolivar for next steps. So that's one example. You've met someone, you made the connection. Now, the other example goes more to maybe you haven't met someone yet. So Adalia writes, Hola, Ms. Elvalia. My name is Adalia and I serve as a career counselor at the University of Houston. I'm attached to the Gulf Coast Regional Officer. I'll be facilitating a breakout session and I hope we get the chance to connect in Houston. Ms. Leal writes back, Hola Adalia, thank you for reaching out. This is my first conference and I look forward to attending. So you can see what the message is. They're not long, in depth. They're really short to the point, whether you know someone or don't. But they establish that friendly connection. We can see why someone's reaching out, why they're interested in connecting with them. So they get their messages across. And then if these 2 instances, if Alfonso and Adalia continue that relationship throughout, I think naturally if they continue to message and provide support to, let's say, Alfonso to Adalia, and then Adalia to Elvia, they will continue that relationship throughout their professional endeavors. Another reason why LinkedIn is really powerful is it's a really good way to see maybe some people you want to reach out for an informational interview. So what an informational interview is that it helps build relationships with hiring managers, gain insight into the job market, learn more about an industry. So this is an easy way to start to build a relationship with someone. Again, it's not you reaching out to someone and saying, hey, I need a job, but it's you reaching out to someone saying, hey, I saw your profile. I'm actually interested in being in this industry. Can I meet with you for a meeting and ask you questions about what does this look like, or the steps that you took to get there? So some informational interviewing questions that you could ask someone. How did you wind up as? What are some satisfying aspects of your jobs? Maybe what are some frustrating? What type of experiences, paid or unpaid, did you get to be in this role? How do people find out about available positions? Based on our conversation today, can you suggest other people who may provide additional information? So you can see a lot of these questions are more asking about the role, the company, but more importantly, during these informational sessions, a lot of times the person you're interviewing is probably going to also ask you questions about yourself. Why are you interested in this role? Tell me more about what you've done. So again, you're naturally building that connection. So when down the line that you've continued to talk to this individual, again, reaching out to them when you yourself are looking for an internship or job, they know you already. So they're probably going to be more likely to give you those resources to look for those positions. Okay. So we're going to practice. So what I want everyone to do, typically when we're face to face, we have you all talk to each other, but we're gonna do this virtually. So what I want you to do is to use the chat box. You can either practice maybe a short couple of sentences if you were sending an email to someone following up from a conversation, or two, you can practice maybe what you would say if maybe you found someone on LinkedIn and wanted to connect with them. What I want you all to do too is that with the chats, if you see someone responding and saying, hey, I'm in the College of Education, I saw your profile on LinkedIn, you can respond back to them and say like, hey, Tanya, I'm in the College of Education too. And then that's the practice of building the relationship. So we'll spend probably a minute doing this just to give everyone time to think. And then we'll go on to the next slide. I'll type something to give an example. Hey everyone. So I just provided an example, and I made this up on the fly. Hi, Lauren. It was great meeting you at the Counseling Practicum Fair last Friday. I was happy to meet a fellow Cougar and enjoyed learning about the opportunities in your office. I look forward to staying in touch. So short, sweet, to the point. I talk about how we connected, something we shared in common. Thank you, Jamie. Say hello, Donna. Thank you so much for your information session on networking. I look forward to attending future sessions and connecting during a career counseling appointment. So again, short, to the point, that person's able to see that how that connection is weighed. I think Jamie brings up a really good point. A lot of times you may attend workshops where you're listening to a speaker and you're like, wow, this speaker is really impactful, or this speaker is really great. I want to connect with them. Send them a message. You may not get a chance to talk to them after the workshop, just depending if they have to go, if it's busy, but you can get their contact information and follow up through either email or through LinkedIn or any other kind of opportunities. So thank you for sharing. We are gonna So the last thing that we want to talk about is, now that you have all this information, what are those next steps to do with it? So when you work with one of the career counselors, we tell you to create a networking plan. So what this plan would be is really just strategies for yourself on how you want to build those relationships. Again, everyone's plan is going to look different, but you can develop your plan, share with your career counselor if you want feedback. But just some ideas that you can think about. Let's say if you're like, well, this semester I really plan on going maybe to one conference and workshop, maybe on and off campus. So you set that goal for yourself so that you can really honor that goal. Thinking about those goals, be realistic with them. If you're saying I'm going to go to 20 networking opportunities, but you're taking 6 classes, part of student orgs, that's probably not going to be as realistic. So be realistic with your goals so you can meet them. I usually, when I go to conferences, depending on how I feel, I may say, you know, today's conference, I feel really good. I'm going to meet with 3 people. Or if I'm a little more tired that day, I may say, you know what, I'm going to at least talk to one person and get their contact information. So it can be fluid in the number of people that you meet, maybe at a certain time or day, but always try to make those small goals for yourself. Another one could be meet someone new every week. But again, if that may not be possible, set those goals that'll be realistic for you. So for the last half of the presentation, I'm just going to talk more about some of our resources that we have here. I know we talked about VMOC, the CAREERS workbook that's available on our website. If you have more questions about informational interviewing, LinkedIn, networking, personal branding, resumes, anything, the CAREERS workbook has a worksheet for each of these topics. What's really great about it is that the information is really thorough. If you're someone who likes to write things out, you can actually print it out, write down your thoughts. But it's available on our website, and then we do have more information on informational questions and to reach out for informational interviewing on there as well. Our drop-in hours, so again, we're not doing in-person drop-in hours for the rest of the semester, but we are doing the live chats. So they'll be Mondays and Tuesdays from 9 to 12 and 1 to 5. Wednesdays and Tuesdays from 9 to 12 and 1 to 4, and then Fridays from 1 to 4. All you have to do is when you go into our website, which I'll show at the end, there'll be a Get Help button in the front. When it's red, you know we're live. All you have to do is click on there, input your PeopleSoft ID number, and then you'll be able to directly chat with the career counselor who is overseeing them that day. So with our events, the Liberal Arts Career Fair was scheduled for next week, but we are rescheduling it for May 20th. So you will still have a career fair opportunity in a couple months. So still have time to plan, prepare. So if you, again, questions about resume, never been to a career fair, what does this look like? Schedule those appointments with your counselors. The Texas Job Fair, it will not be on April 7th. We will be having Student Employment Week. We're still working on what type of activities we want to do for that, but Student Employment Week is a week-long series where we celebrate the students on campus and just all the hard work that they do for, not only for the departments, but for the university. These are the different ways you connect with us. Our website is uh.edu/UCS. Email, phone number, we have every social media you can think of. All the platforms are at CAREERS. We typically post our most up-to-date information on here first because we know it's where a lot of students are reaching out to. So if you are looking to connect with us, learning when's our next workshop, go into any of our platforms, our website, or contact us at the office. I do want to know too that our office is currently still open, but again, most of the career counselors are taking phone and virtual appointments.